We're what?
Literally caught that just off air. Anyway, hello, we are back again. It's another week, it's another Statrcast, and there's been much going on in the Premier League, in the league, and with us. So it's been a good week of football and shenanigans. Jimmy, we're about to start the Eliminator. People don't know about the Eliminator.
We're about to
Talk
start the Eliminator, and this
dirty.
is like state secret, like corporate brilliance from Statrcast, one of our many, many secret game modes that people have not played before. This is one we cooked up back in, I want to say 16 or 17, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's deliciously chaotic. But what I'm going to do is say hello to all of our lovely listeners and take you through just how the main league is going at the moment, the head-to-head season. Things are getting very, very relaxed in, call it the top 9 out of 10 of us.
Yeah.
We now have nice little 3-point margins between basically everyone. Bad week for the big teams. Both Cavs beaten this week, which hasn't happened all season. Dino beaten this week, and wins for Dave the Auto Pick, which is what I'm calling him from now on, and for Damo, that's the top half. John still holding tough there on 30 points with a streak of 1 winning game. Joey just behind you on 27, Jack on 24, Gary drops into the Harrisons on 21, and Kim, like the child in a rubber tire being dragged behind a jet ski, just kind of there at the back somewhere. I'm sure she'll be fine. Oh, she's fallen in. Nobody's noticed. But she's on 9 points now. So she's up 50% across the Christmas season. So since the start of December, she's had 50% to her points total. She's now on 9. Not a great season for her.
I want to talk about my magical win. I'm 2 wins in a row. That's Dave and Gary in the last 2 weeks. And Gary was taken down in 12 minutes last night, and it was beautiful. That game was done until Ahmed popped up and did Ahmed things.
And you had been like in all of the background chatter. We went into the last day of the game week, and you were like, "I'm done. I'm cooked. I have no hope unless Ahmad does something." And about 65 minutes into that game, everybody in Old Trafford was going, "I have no hope unless Ahmad does something." And then what Ahmad did next was score 3 goals, land you 42.5 points. And it made it not just a beating, but a solid beating for our often contributor, Gary. Another very, very tight contest last night. Poor old Dino. Finishing score, you lost it by 2.375 points. That's 86.5 to 84.5 against Joey, who, let's be honest, badly needed the win.
I probably didn't help that I started Damo, who was suspended.
Yeah,
that wasn't that I forgot to take him off as well. I actually put him on.
You pulled the Dino.
It's completely stupid.
You actively put the worst possible player on the pitch, gaining you 0 points. Although, to be fair, given your defensive picks in the past, 0 is actually not bad for you.
And Favorite chair, I think he came down with a flu that's currently tormenting the British Isles.
What?
So that's why he was out. The British Isles in Ireland.
Do you mean Ireland and Friends?
Yeah, so hopefully he's back next week. Can't remember who they have. There's someone handy next week anyway. Is it Bournemouth?
Newcastle.
Well, that's not handy actually. That's not very handy.
Newcastle next week are at home to Bournemouth in the Aka Killer at 12:30 on Saturday.
Yeah.
Never back there really kicked off. Just Wednesday. But Bournemouth have no striker. And Evan away with the metatarsal and Uno Semenyo.
They will hurt. They will hurt this weekend. I think Newcastle are going to absolutely demolish them, if I'm being honest. Newcastle are the form team of the moment. They're the only ones who really moved anywhere in the table in December. And it's thanks to 4 wins and 4 clean sheets, which is better form than Liverpool had through December. But yeah, having looked in the rest of the fixtures, nothing much to report. Good win for Jack, but only against Kim, so it barely counts.
That's so unfortunate. Really, it's his best week all year for Kim.
Yep, West all week. And you know what? I had my worst week all year this week and got my first absolute fucking kicking of the season from Dave, who's the last person I want to be losing to because he's right behind me. And the form player at the moment is Damo, out of nowhere into 4th place. He's now sitting on 6 wins in a row, with the last one being the scalp of the mighty Princess at the top of the table, which I don't think anybody's sad about. We didn't want him going 9 points clear. So, yeah, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious.
That was the magic of Alex Owobi, my new favorite player.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're going to talk about points this week, this was a midfielders week. It was a really, really strange one. Just looking at the top players this week, it's all defs and mids, some old familiar friends in Foden and De Bruyne in City, a lot of Fulham, but a lot of attacking mids overall, very, very little by way of strikers. I think that's kind of what killed me this week,
Yeah.
because all year I've been surfing on my attacking crew, who are, let's be honest, like there's
Quite.
4 of my strikers anybody would want. I think it's 4 in the top 10 for the year, which is just fucking ridiculously good fortune. But none of them pulled it. No Salah, no Mbuemo, no Kai Havertz did fucking
Pedro.
nothing. Pedro did a little but not enough. Vardy did nothing. So the strikers didn't score, but it wasn't just me. Like if you look at the top 10, 15 players last week, it was pretty much all coming from midfield. Does this signal some sort of tactical shift in football? Does it imply that the strikers who do all of the quick running are fucking knackered after the long, long winter? Either way, it's an aberration, and I am not at all worried. It is still the year of the Baron, but that's not enough fun. That's head to head. We all know head to head. We all love head to head. But a few years back, we came up with an idea to spice things up and make it a little bit more interesting, and that's to have differing game modes. So this week, at the start of game week 23, we're just going to hit week 22 on Saturday.
Yeah.
Start of week 23, we go into the Eliminator, which is quite simple. 11-man teams. You get your total points, no playing against each other, quite simple, until week 2. And in week 2, whoever's in last place is gone. And all of their players go back into the pot to be devoured, absolutely hoovered up like an apple going through a Henry. As soon as the window opens, and there will be distraction tactics and ringing people's phones when the window opens so they can't post their thing, and changing passwords to Discord servers. Wait, I'm not supposed to tell you about that one. Anyway, all of the fuckery will begin in earnest now once we hit week 23.
The Eliminator is normally the indicator of spicy season in the league, though, because that's when the table is starting to shape up with playoffs, and it's when you have the second and third competition running where you can sack one off to focus on the other while people are trying to split their chances. Like I've always done well in the Eliminator, but normally the years I do well in the Eliminator
and cutting deals,
it's because I'm out of the running in the head-to-head normally by then, and I'm not.
Except for 3 years ago when
except for 3 years ago when magic happened.
So the Eliminator is the competition that I'm statistically the best at over the last few years. I've won 1 and come second in 2, which. And that's not a humble brag. That's more, this is the one I enjoy the most, because it's so dirty and it's so nasty and it's so, you've got to be right on the transfers. And then as it progresses, you're getting into kind of the week 31, 32, 33, 34, where cup ties start to fuck up. And then you have, the guy I have to catch this week has 6 Liverpool players and they have 3 games each. Or one of those nightmare weeks where there's 4 games between Fulham and Leicester on the Tuesday and Wednesday, and nobody really gives a shit. And that's your whole game week. And if you're at the bottom going into one of those, you're dead because there's no way to claw those points back. And suddenly the kind of fractured schedule, the fractured schedule doesn't make a big impact on head-to-head over the scope of a year because you can recover from a bad week in any position. The fractured schedule in the Eliminator is how people go out of the competition. It's absolutely brilliant, and I cannot wait to get it started. The only problem that I think all 3 of us now share is that we have to decide which of our beloved squads in head-to-head we have to let go, because there's 18 men on a head-to-head squad, but there's only 11 on an Eliminator team. And next week we will all be abandoning our warts, our shackles, our dead wood, our Clark Kent's glasses. We'll be fucking throwing away the stuff that we're not keeping, and it's going to hurt me a little bit because I think I'm going to have to let go of either Pedro or Havertz. And that sucks.
It'll be Havertz.
It has to be Havertz.
It has to be Havertz.
Yeah, I think it does. But
Did you
Pedro's
see his performance against United 2 weeks ago? Jesus.
Well, I have
a scissor from the 5 or 6 yard freaking box. But 2
I would imagine he's a man who is very, very worried about the end of the transfer season in case he gets shopped and replaced. And we do still have the transfer window for another 2 weeks today.
And nothing has been happening. Well, City have just
I don't know.
City have unlocked the gates of hell today. Actually, I think let's just get into this. So City have dropped about 150 mil today. Pep has signed his new contract, which was
Haaland.
cited as the reason for his divorce today, which is mental. And Haaland's new 9.5-year contract. 9.5 years. That's a death row contract, but fuck me, he is set.
He's sort of
I think I read today. Now, the source wasn't great, and I don't know if the details come out, but apparently it's meant to be worth about 200 million over 9.5 years. Now, just to put into context,
It's 345.
Ronaldo's new contract over in Saudi is 220 million for one fucking year. So I just thought to find out that 3 million a week, I think he's on or something. Yeah.
Like I'm amazed that he's doing a death row contract in a club like City. I imagine part of the timing on this and there's an awful lot of plates in the air over there at the moment, and one of them is that we now got to the end of any alleged court rulings, and it turns out nobody did anything wrong at all. Hooray! Everything's fine. But what I don't understand is why a guy Haaland's age who is not showing kind of an extra 5 incremental goals per season form. Let's be honest, he's really good, very, very good, but he's not necessarily going to stay where he is now in 5 years' time. And at that point, he would still have the option of going to the desert. And he's just kind of killed that option a bit, hasn't he?
Well, at that stage,
I don't think so. I think what's after happening is that City are trying to avoid exactly what happened with PSG, and they're signing on a long enough contract where in 5 years' time, if he decides I want to leave, they could still ask for 150, 180 million for him because he's got 4 years left in his contract.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to avoid him possibly going off on a free when his contract ends. That's just my theory. But
yeah, because originally, like, he was on a long enough deal, but it was one of those ones that there was a release clause in the contract. So that release clause is gone now.
Until 2030, I think, is it? I think it's gone, and it comes back in 2030 or something.
Something like that, yeah. But it basically means that if, let's say, Madrid were to come in slinging dick as they do in 2 to 3 years' time, City still can command a fee. Also, from his perspective, the release clause is gone. So it means he can demand a huge fee if that ever happens. But more than likely, it's because he's getting an absolute bomb of money. He's quite settled in Manchester. Remember, he also grew up in Manchester because his father played for City.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
no, I see it. Yeah, it makes sense.
There is the life aspect of that where it's like, cool, I can happily stay in Manchester for the next 10 years. I spent a good bit of time here as a kid. I like it here. I'm settled here. I can, in that time frame, if I score at the rate I'm scoring at, I will be the Premier League's all-time leading goal scorer.
I wonder though, like, we don't really know what's going to happen with City in terms of charges yet. If they were to get docked, say, 100 points and they're relegated next season, I mean, if I'm Haaland, I'm like, fuck it, it's one fucking season of the Championship and be going straight back up to the Premier League. You know, I think that's probably another element of it as well. Whereas if they only had 2 years left in his contract, he might decide, John, fucking I'm out of here. So let's sell me now and cash in.
Does he strike you as a dare I say it, humble enough man to do a year of Championship football? Really?
I don't know.
Do you know what?
He could go on. He could go on loan. There might be a stipulation in his new contract that if I go down to the Championship, you have to loan me out for a year.
No, you see, there's a couple of the lads there that if it was only the Championship, they'd do it for a year, and they'd do terrible things. Like Foden wouldn't bother going anywhere for a year. Do you know what I mean? There's a few of them there where the likes of him, he's from there, he grew up there, he's one of them. He ain't going anywhere for the sake of the season. He'd just go and rip up the Championship and do dirty things.
Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of stipulations.
But we have a big rebuild to do. Liverpool have a big rebuild to do. This is a very interesting time this summer in the Premier League because obviously City's dominant era is ended. Arsenal, I think Arteta gets sacked next year if they win nothing this year.
Yeah, probably.
Question
from the floor. Omar Marmouk.
Yes.
That's a rather expensive buy, and statistically he seems to have had two outstanding seasons in Germany. I just wonder, is this, again, leave me some space here, I'm not a football man, this a Champions League and FA Cup purchase?
No, he's a good player.
Okay, whose spot does he get?
He's better than Doku. He's better than Grealish.
Scored 15 goals this season, only one behind Harry Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
those numbers don't sit in the bench like do
That
Well,
number,
Julian Alvarez did.
he
quite a
goes
bit.
out. He goes out one of the sides, or he plays alongside him, and they put Foden or De Bruyne in a 10.
Right.
It wouldn't be beyond Guardiola to change the system. Remember, he used to play 2 years ago when he had Walker and Cancelo. Those two fullbacks went bombing forward. Last season, he switched to basically 4 centre backs across the back line and kept it real narrow and tight. He's not adverse to change
playing with things. Yeah, no, not one who's afraid of not one lacking in self-confidence. Pep.
Because the wingers have been woeful this season. The City wingers have been very, very bad between all 5-6 of them. So would you put it past him narrowing it up and going, right, there's a target man and Haaland, go?
Maybe it struck me that like they've made 3 purchases I think so far.
Yep,
and most of them are kind of younger guys who have promise and a bit of experience, and we're kind of in the 20 to 30 million, and this yoke's an 80 million. Yeah, and I was just kind of going, well, if you're spending on 80 million out front on the same day that you're signing for however much Haaland is making, it just struck me as odd, and I wonder if maybe that's lights out for Doku. Who seems to be the only one really consistently playing that position. He always seemed quite good, you know. The few times I've watched them, not that I know what I'm looking at, but the few times I've watched, he seemed all right. Yeah, I guess.
I guess he's not very consistent.
All right, well, City remain cunts. What's next, John?
Wow, not wrong, not wrong. To be fair, no, I was actually saying, well, Jesus, where was it going?
Caught him.
You caught me on the hop. I was actually just looking at the other City signing, the centre back that they're bringing in, and obviously you have a week after the Kyle Walker conversation that we had about who replaces him, he comes out and hands in a transfer request. So I'm not done with City yet because Kyle Walker's off to the desert or Italy.
AC Milan, I think we're looking at him, were they?
Yeah, but they're also looking at Rashford, and so is Dortmund. So he's probably
I can see Rashford going to Dortmund. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Jane Sancho was onto Rashford and said Dortmund's a well-run club, great fans, great fan base. Definitely go there. He's definitely not going to AC Milan over Dortmund, in my opinion.
See, the thing is, AC can only sign one of the two of him and Rashford, right? Because of the way the Italian league is structured, they can only have 3 non-EU players, and obviously English players count. That is the same reason why Jude Bellingham is rocking around in Madrid with an Irish passport, FYI.
I have nothing to say about people using Irish passports for work. Nothing at all.
So yeah, they can only sign a couple, like 3 non-EU players, so they can, and they already have a couple, so they can only sign one of the 2. So it's basically a prioritization job between Kyle Walker and Marcus Rashford. So whichever one ends up at AC, the other one has to go somewhere else.
Yeah, well,
which do AC Milan need more?
Probably Kyle Walker.
No idea.
Kyle Walker more so, I would say. In attack, they have already the likes of Rafael. They have a quite.
I'm just looking here. Dortmund are actually 10th in the league this season.
Yeah, they're having a shocker.
Yeah, that is nuts.
They're having a shocker. They're after selling Danny Malen to Aston Villa for 20 odd million, which seems cheap for him. He's an interesting player. He'll go out on the wing probably for. He's actually, Danny Malen, tidy player, winger, Dortmund, quite good. Will do well for Villa.
Plays on the right, does he?
Wingers these days, where do they play? Let's be real.
I'm just thinking about Bailey, maybe Diaby. Transfer season, hooray! Nobody knows what their assets are worth anymore. It's brilliant. Love it. I tell you who's not going to be a problem. Mo Salah. Staying right where he is. Life's good. I only need him to stay there till May. After that, he can fucking fall off the edge of the earth for all I care.
Oh, here's one for you. If we're going talking Liverpool and transfers. So they're having a rough time of it. The 2 guys that they have been sniffing around have gone elsewhere.
Really?
You have the man whose name I can barely say, Krashvili.
The goalie.
Krashvili, anyway. No, the winger for Napoli, he's after going to PSG for 70 million, and Liverpool had earmarked him as a potential over to replace Mr. Mo. So he's off to PSG, signed there the other day. And then you have Zubimendi, who they were trying to get out of Sociedad last year. And he is off to Arsenal in the summer.
That's great news.
So Arsenal, a team who need a forward, decided to sign another defensive midfielder to add to their ever-growing
He loves
collection.
DMs. Mikel loves DMs for some reason. He just stacks them.
He's signed. What is it? I think he's only signed one forward player in Trossard in his time or something. I remember reading something like this because Kai Havertz was initially signed to actually play as a midfielder and fell arse backwards into playing as a forward. So it's all been defenders, goalkeepers, and defensive midfielders.
Now, to be fair, Trossard has paid off. Trossard is absolutely brilliant. I'd say, knowing Brighton, they probably got him for a song as well.
Oh, and
Sterling, who has started to play again, although not really show up numbers-wise, but he's getting game time.
And the reason why he's playing is because everybody's injured. You have Jesus is injured. You have Saka who's injured. You have the young fella Ethan Nwari, who I had brought in and had to drop equally as hot because he got injured in the game that he scored, which is a shame because he's a fabulous footballer to watch.
I tell you what caught my eye in terms of transfers, and I don't know if this happens a lot, but Trevor Chalobah, Crystal Palace, going back to Chelsea, but being recalled in the middle of a loan. Is that a response to an injury issue there, or...?
Yeah, Chelsea are having problems at the back, few injuries. They actually were looking to buy Gahey, but like the finances to do that in January just aren't happening. So easier to bring back in Chalobah, who can come in and go in straight away, and they'll sell him off in the summer.
I'm a little worried because he was doing wonderful things for me at Palace. He seemed to be pretty much nailed on.
He'll play.
And Palace had a really hot streak there, kind of November to early December. And he was doing wonderful things for me. I just got a little bit worried. I don't like change. I don't like them moving around when there's no... Like, if he had just been signed by Arsenal for 120 million, I'd be like, okay, that's good. But recalled from a loan isn't something I've seen happen a lot, really. It doesn't seem to be a common thing. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong there. It's just not something I've noticed happening a whole pile. But yeah, and Chelsea at the back are a problem lately. They're like, what was it, 2-2 Bournemouth this week?
Yeah, they're not having a good time at the back. But Reece James is back from injury for now.
Oh,
yeah, they're.
Oh, he's back.
Yes, I do. He's back. Probably for another 45 minutes until he breaks down again. Unfortunately, I feel really bad for him because he's actually phenomenal.
Who was it we were talking with? Kirkaz, wasn't it? That Kirkaz played 90 minutes and statistically did fucking nothing because Reece James had him in his pocket with a bow tie on top for that entire game. Like, he's very, very good in the 5 minutes a year where he's healthy. You know, I certainly, I'd just like to take this opportunity before next week's podcast to wish him a speedy recovery from his latest injury.
Yeah, it is a downside. It is a downside. But Chelsea, so they needed a defender. They brought back in Chalobah. I think that's about it in terms of their moving and shaking, apart from potentially moving out in Cuckoo and bringing in Matthias Tells from Bayern.
Okay.
In January or in the summer?
Potentially in January. So they're looking at 65 for Nkuku. I think they want to get him out anyway because he's not going to play, and because Jackson has pretty much solidified that slot. Tell is very, very good. Very good. It's just unfortunate that Harry Kane is the guy in front of him at Bayern Munich. So that is what it is. So it might make sense. Something like that. And to be fair, Chelsea do need that bit of extra clinical firepower. But then again, so doesn't everybody, which is why everybody is still looking at Evan Ferguson, despite the fact that he's just back from another injury.
Tell me this, because we've kind of looked at most of the top half there to some degree in terms of rumored transfers, and there haven't been very many done deals. Yeah. Can I just ask, is anything happening at Spurs? Because Ange strikes me as a man who could feel himself under serious pressure soon if something doesn't change, and I know they're crippled at the back with injuries. Have they gone shopping?
No. They bought the goalkeeper, Kinski, who, to be honest with you, I like him. He's been actually quite good in the last couple of games. Brought him in for 12.5 million, and to be honest with you, he looks a bit more assured from corners than Vicario does. But not that that's hard to do. So I think that there could potentially look. I think he's been brought in to be a number 2, but judging by how he's been playing since he's come in, I think there could be a possibility that he keeps that position long term, which is wild to say. But Vicario can't catch.
They could and do have a selection of goalkeepers. There's like 4 of them now that have played this year. And Vicario, by all accounts, isn't far away from some form of a training return, apparently. No, that's only according to himself. The last report that came from Postecoglou is that it was months as opposed to weeks. That's a quote. But he's posting on Instagram that he's getting back to training next weekend. So hard to call there, but I just...
Spurs were looking at Kolomuani from PSG, but he's after going to Juventus. So they were looking at him as a loan with an option to buy. He's all right. I think he's kind of one of those strikers that's going to bounce around the clubs. So they're looking at a forward because Richarlison is injury prone.
They're looking at a forward. I'm looking at a Premier League tier back 4 of injured players. Romero, Udogie, Van de Ven.
I haven't seen anything about
fucking Davies is still barely there. It blows my mind that they're not shopping for defenders. They have strikers.
I've seen nothing. I'm sure they must be, but I have seen nothing.
Yeah, I haven't seen. It's been quiet enough. But I find that I feel like the past few years of January transfer window is kind of lost this.
It's the PSR thing. It's that new deadline. It's that new June 30th deadline where they have to have sold a couple of players in summer to balance the books before the accounts close and da. So it's getting a lot harder to do stuff in January, but I think you're going to see some creative bullshittery over the next... That's the part of January I like, is that the English clubs are becoming more Italian. The Italians love the loan system. They'll do deals with each other where it's a 2-year loan. We'll buy this guy and we'll loan you this guy for the next 2 years and then his contract's up. So they do, like, you're seeing more deals like that where it's like loan with an option, it's loan with an obligation, or a player going this way and another player going that way in separate deals, but the money kind of lines up in a different manner for creative accounting. But yeah, no, Spurs, nothing. Arsenal up to bit, looking at bits. Liverpool need to do bits just to solidify the squad. I don't think it's much, but a centre-back would be nice. Fulham, it's only outgoings I'm seeing over there, which is really fucking sad. Incomings, there's next to nothing. Pereira could be on his way out, by the way.
Where's he heading for?
Yeah, league stalwart Andreas Pereira. So Marseille were banging around him in the summer, and there's rumours going around about that. Now, also last week, Palmeiras, his team in Brazil, had an offer knocked back for him.
Okay.
And that was 20 million, so they knocked that back from the Brazilian league last week, and potentially Marseille, and then Muniz is the other one who's potentially on the way out, maybe. Now, Marco Silva said that they want to keep both players, obviously, however.
Yeah.
Muniz is West Ham are looking at Muniz to ease their forward problem. And obviously Pereira could be... Now, to be fair with Pereira, I wouldn't say no. If he was to go to Marseille at his age, he's 29 years of age, go to Marseille and play Champions League football. I can't blame the man if he wants to do that, but I would be very sad to see him. It'd
be a shame. It'd be like he's one of those names that, again, just from the fantasy point of view, he's a Ward-Prowse, or who else is that kind of scale? The fellas who season in, season out for a long time. One day you wake up and realize they've been in the top 30 players for 5 years. You know what I mean? And like an absolutely brilliant performer everywhere he goes. Be a shame to see him go, but again, nobody cares about Fulham. John, are there new managers in the Premier League?
There is. It is manager season. So Lopetegui. We have blogs. We have blogs and blogs and blogs about this. Would you believe? I have written 2 blogs. One about Lopetegui getting the boot for
really.
Shit,
and where would I go to read these blogs, John?
I believe it's Statrcast.com. They can be found on the blog page and on the homepage. Would you believe? But no, Lopetegui, 6 months into the job at West Ham, got kicked out the back door because West Ham went and spent a fortune in the summer, and they've been
such a poorly run club. They should have never gotten rid of Moyes. The fact that they got rid of Moyes is
Should have never got rid of Moyes. Man goes, wins you trophies, drags you from relegation to Europe, drags him from relegation fodder potentially to Europe, wins a trophy, and then they go, do you know what? We want this sexy Spanish guy because we want to see better football.
Do you know what? They suffered from the same kind of imposter syndrome that I think Leicester suffered from when they won the Premier League the next year. They weren't doing well, and they sacked Ranieri. And it's like, lightning is not going to fucking strike twice, but the man fucking got you a trophy. Like, stick with him. He knows what he's doing. He lost Declan Rice in summer, one of your best players, a key player to that team. So it's going to take a couple of years to get back to where you were. And second two player or managers in what, 18 months, is it?
I'll say this about West Ham season, right? If it was even 4 or 5 years ago, and they were sitting behind United and ahead of Spurs in the table, you wouldn't think you were looking at the bottom third.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's three teams in varying degree of crisis. Tottenham's is fresh, Manchester's is very chronic, but West Ham just aren't doing it now. That being said, this man's first game was this week.
Graham Potter and
big green W.
Look, I watched the game because it was obviously against my beloved Fulham, and Fulham should have ran away with that game and should have battered them into next weekend. Just couldn't finish their chances, but for the first time in a while, West Ham had 3 chances, took 3 chances, and basically how it went. Look, it is what it is.
For a team with a striker crisis, there's no lack of conversion of opportunity in that game. I saw bits of it, not with your eyes, obviously, but I was watching bits of it, and they did not have much of a time in front of the Fulham goal. There wasn't much going towards the Fulham goal. Good old Bernie was kept quiet most of the game, and they did what they needed to do, and they won. And that's kind of the fucking point, isn't it? Just get it done. Is for that end of the table.
But Graham Potter is going to do it. Graham Potter will do a decent job there. He's a better manager than Lopetegui is, in my opinion. Graham Potter was just dealt a shite hand going in at Chelsea at the time they did, when they had 40 players in the dressing room. Nobody was going to manage that. He's a good manager. He'll do well there. They still arguably shouldn't have got rid of Moyes last year, but he has found his way home in the Premier League by replacing Everton. Are the only team in the Premier League. They stress me. They actually stress me. They have so much potential, and the last time they had potential was under David fucking Moyes, and now he's back there to probably bring back some form of sanity to the room. Because fuck me, you get yourself in a relegation battle, you have a manager who's kept you up after a points deduction, you go sell more of his players, do not get the one major piece of a puzzle that a team needs. A striker who can be on the football pitch, not even a competent one, but just one that can be on the pitch. If they got him anybody, they'd be in a better position. But then you sack the one manager that you'd say, Everton are in a relegation battle. Who should we hire? Sean fucking Dyche. So what you go and do is you fire Sean fucking Dyche. However, you went and hired David Moyes. So
next best, really, isn't
it? Kind of.
Well, he's got a connection with the fans. He's got history with the club. I mean,
he's sane.
He'll keep them up.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll do whatever.
Although the match the other night was more of the same. They huffed and they puffed, and they had no man who can do anything with a football in the attacking space. Like Dominic Calvert-Lewin is awful and injured.
It's the injury thing. And again, to loop back to West Ham, remember how many injured strikers they have and are getting it done. Everton have all the injured strikers and aren't getting it done. And Ndiaye was found out very quickly. I thought he was going to be great after the year he had at Sheffield 2 years ago, but no joy there. DCL just might as well be a fucking campfire story at this stage. Gather round, children. There's a ghost called Dominic who used to score goals for Everton. Like, where the fuck is he? You know what I mean? Who does that leave them with? Who's
nothing. Dwight McNeil. So David Moyes will be fine. He probably will keep them up, but Everton have a major problem that they have. It's not, as I said, it's not even a confidence striker. It's an available one. Like, God forbid, they'll go do something mental and they'll get Peter Crouch out of retirement for 6 months at the tender age of 45, and they'll figure it out. Like, that's how that club is basket casely ran, because they're going to have to sell more players in the summer to survive before they go into their new stadium as well, by the way, which could potentially be a championship stadium.
Do you know what would be a great move right now? And I say this in the presence of the man who makes all of the greatest moves, Dean Ahern, right? The man who makes the perfect timely moves, like grabbing a fella who's crippled 2 weeks after he writes off his season, or dropping charges. All of that good stuff that Dean does. But I don't think I've ever seen anything as silly as the suggestion that's flashing in front of me here right now. What if I said to you, Everton have been offered for free a 36-year-old winger who we used in this league in the inaugural season in 2014? Correct.
Willian.
Correct.
Yeah. Who's he?
Yeah.
He
was at Fulham last year. He went off back to Brazil, but he's already finished with that, and potentially looking at Olympiacos. There you go. And then now potentially looking at Fulham or Everton. On a short term.
And before our number one fan on TikTok says anything, for our fans and all our followers on TikTok, yes, we are already perfect. Greece or different countries. John, continue.
Anyway, thanks for putting me off track again. But yes, Willian, Everton. That's the basement that they're shopping in, is retirees and free transfers, and probably hoping that they can snip someone out of League One with potential for a mil or two.
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all.
It's not pretty. But David Moyes can do the job.
He can do the job, and I think, to be honest with you, the thing that makes his job a lot easier is, first of all, he's been given the reins at 16th place, right? Nobody's expecting miracles from 16th in New Year, but also because the bottom three are now so clearly out of rope for being anything other than the bottom three. Like Ipswich are imploding. They have a win from 5 games. Leicester have 5 losses on the bounce. Southampton have 4, and their best chance to win one was last night, and they fucked it. I don't think really. I think Wolves, despite their results, I think they'll still come good. I think there's a better squad there. I don't know if they'll stay up, but I think they will. And I think all of this is great news for Everton. I don't think Everton go down this year.
Yeah, Cunha and Hwang keep
Wolves off. And
Wolves in the league. Southampton are done. I hate that I'm going to say this, but I feel like Leicester are going to fire Ruud van Nistelrooy before the end of the season. In a roll of the dice move by bringing in a
rookie,
Tony Mowbray or a fucking Sean Dyche at the end of the season, and a wing and a prayer with 4.
I think if they were going to do that, they'd be doing it now. Like there's nobody looks at Leicester's.
They've only hired him. He's only in the
he hasn't won the game.
I'm saying, with about 4 or 5 games.
No, had many draws.
Nope.
Jesus Christ.
No. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't put it past the Leicester board. Ipswich are going down, but to be fair, they're going down fighting. They don't have a squad capable of the Premier League apart from 1 or 2 players. They'll go down. They'll go down with a bit of credit going right.
Has Big Sam retired? I wonder if Leicester will be looking around Big Sam.
Yeah.
Seeing if he'll come in.
It will be Sean Dyche.
Yeah,
Sean Dyche should be the Leicester manager for the last 4 games of the season.
And who's going to get Amarin's job?
He'll be there till at least the end of next season. He'll get this season and all of next season, and after.
He's 2 wins from 8 games.
I know, but you have to give a fucking manager a chance to bring in his own players and put his own stamp on the team. He's shown that he has. I know it's a different league, but the success he had at Sporting, he has the potential to be a good manager. But you got to give him a chance to put his own stamp on the team. Apparently, a lot of the players as well are happy with the 3-4-3 system. So at least in summer, you can be like, "Well, if you're not happy, fuck off. I'll get a player so they're happy."
Do you know what it is for me? I like the way he's come in, and what he's done was he rotated the team heavily in the first 4 or 5 weeks and went, "Okay, I now know exactly what I have here." Casemiro hasn't played since the Newcastle game. He's done. Rashford, he just basically went, not having that. End of. There's 3 or 4 lads where he's just marked the card and gone, now, next. And it's in the last 3 or 4 games where there's been a more settled team. It's only been 1 or 2 changes per game, but in the first few games, it was full-scale rotation, match to match. basically throw them in the fire. It's like there's no chance for them to hide, because what's happened under previous managers is they'll come in, the United team will go on a 6-7 game winning run, and it'll paper over the cracks that most of the players are not good enough. And then they'll get to the summer, they won't strengthen as much as they need to because a few of them have conned another season out of it. And then they repeat the cycle of not bothering their hole to run around.
So the future's bright.
And that's been the cycle. And he's essentially come in and gone, right, nowhere to hide, full-scale rotation of the team first few weeks and go, this is how I play, figure it out. Now he knows who he can back, who he can't. Like Toby Collier has bypassed Eriksson and Casemiro in a month.
Yeah, he wasn't great last night, though.
Yeah, but it's a case of he's not afraid to go, I don't care that Casemiro's on this much money, I'm bringing on the child ahead of him because he'll run around, or he can run around.
But I mean, if you look at the players that have really,
that team will improve.
Like if you look at the past couple of years, the players who have actually shined at United, there's few and far between. You have Kobe Mainoo, very young academy player. You have Amad Diallo, who's a very young player. I know Garnacho isn't in form right now, but I think the three of them are really key to United's future. I know that's just a lot of, I think he was very close with Rashford and Sancho as well. So I think once we get fucking Rashford out the door, Amram might be able to turn around and be like, look, you have so much potential, but you need to screw your head back on, So I think three of them will be key to United in the future, and obviously you Bruno as well. But yeah, I know that there's.
I've got numbers.
Hit me with numbers.
Right, lads. In your sauciest dreams, you will not get this one right. Do the quiz, Jimmy. Do the quiz. Nah, something. Right. Top 3 players, points per game, year to date. Manchester United.
Points per game, Ahmad being number 1.
Oh, sorry, he is. He's number 1.
Wow.
Yeah. You'll have...
Barely. Ahead of the
Gallo?
You'll have...
Lads.
Gallo? No?
Points per game.
No, it's
not Dallo. It's not Dallo. It'll be
it's exactly as obvious as you think it is.
Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno and Ahmad. I have both of them. And then it's
12.76 Ahmad, 12.57 Bruno. The next man up won across 12 games this year. Any takers? Casemiro. It's bizarre. He was so good until he was so bad.
Yeah.
It was like a wee, you know what I mean? Like that's where he kind of spun around 90 degrees around the ball and then kicked it off into the middle distance and had a nap. Like, I can't even remember who it was against. It was one of the worst performances I've seen out of anyone ever. But numbers-wise, lads, there's no assets at United. Onana, maybe, if you're stuck at this point of the year, which you shouldn't be, and I am, and you shouldn't be. Garnacho's okay at 6.5. Mazraoui's 5.99. Dallo's 5.72. Rashford is 7.37. He's 4th.
Yeah, he's off. Anyway... Jimmy.
It's 4.
Jimmy.
John.
Jimmy.
Okay. Right. So this week I've prepared absolutely nothing. But let me see what we do. We'll do a little bit of Chicago Bachelor Pad, huh? Hey Johnny H, let's do that dirty quiz. Yeah. Quiz John. Do the fucking quiz, John. John, do the quiz.
Thank you very much. I like how you froze at the perfect moment where it just broke and then went dirty. So I was very happy with that. Right. Are we all accustomed to the rules of the quiz now? Dean, no fucking bullshit, cheating, typing, faffing around and being a general scumbag this week. It is 10 questions. I didn't bother with the bonus question because we haven't ever needed
tabs.
it.
I can see his face getting brighter as he opens a fresh tab.
One second, let me open up my
right. Anyway, Talk to me. Right. So it's 10 questions. 10 questions only. Both get one shot at an answer, unless I say you're coming back in, which you will get a second chance. And as it stands, you're both second and third in the championship quiz table. So
Happy
hopefully
three
one of
places,
these will
baby.
get a bit of a lift. Stop at you. Right. Question 1. Ahmad scored a hat-trick last night versus Southampton, but who is the last Manchester United to bag a hat-trick?
Ronaldo?
Yes.
Oof.
1-0 Dean. Ahmad has now officially
Wow.
one more hat-trick than Rashford in his Manchester United career.
Rashford's never scored a hat trick. Oh, holy shit!
No.
Interesting.
Yeah. Question 2. Which goalkeeper has the most clean sheets this season with 9? No.
Yeah, he was at the top for a while. Sells.
Sells. 2-0 Dean. It sells.
Damn it.
It sells. It's Raya and Pickford in second place with 7. Right. My favorite question ever. Question 3. The career path question. He's a current Premier League player, by the way, so that should help. I have played for Bournemouth, Dorchester Town on loan, Burnley, Liverpool, Southampton, Aston
Danny
Villa,
Ings.
and West Ham. Danny Ings, 2-1 to Dean. The glorious Danny Ings, who I drafted in this week and got me an assist instantly after his return from his nomadic lifestyle of doing nothing for 2 years. Legend of the league, might I add, Danny Ings.
Legend.
Question 4.
Has
He's
he
a legend of the league. He was decent at Villa when he played. Anyway, question 4. What player leads the charts for the most big chances missed this
By Havertz?
season? No. Back in.
Chances missed this season.
Erling Haaland was 2, by the way. No, Marcus Rashford hasn't played enough football to
Yeah,
miss that
that's
much
what I was
football.
thinking. Big chances. Chris Wood?
No. He didn't even make the top 5. No. He doesn't play enough football to miss enough football.
Is
This is going to go on a
Jesus.
while. No, Jesus is also in the same boat. He don't play enough football to miss enough football. Jesus.
Missed the most big chances.
So Erling Haaland was
Can we just
second.
spit? Can we just
Brennan
throw names
Johnson.
out?
Just start
Jackson.
throwing dice
Nicholas
here.
Jackson.
I don't care. Nicholas Jackson was number 4 with 13.
Fucking hell, that is a lot of missed chances.
Did you say Mo Salah? He's
Salah.
third with 14.
Oh.
He's
I
third
said
with
Mo
14,
Salah.
Mo Salah. So you still haven't got number 1. No.
Hoyland.
No.
Um,
You can keep saying him. It's still not him.
Son?
No.
Sorry.
Lads, you're going to... I'm giving you
Yeah.
one more guess each. If you don't get it at this point, it's because you've just bypassed
Bruno.
it and forgotten. But okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so Jimmy, your last shot.
Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins,
Ooh.
19, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. He has a bit of...
So Watkins was with 19, Erling had 16, Mo has 14, Jackson had 13, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin had 11, rounding off. So that is 2 points each, 2-2. This may actually be the first time I need a bonus question, and I didn't write one today. So hopefully one of you take a lead. Right. What player in last season's Carabao Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool, who scored the winning goal in added time?
Chelsea, Liverpool. I can't even remember who fucking won.
But that's not a league match. Who gives a
It's a match. It's a match. It's a
cup match?
match.
They're just getting
I've
away.
asked the question.
I don't even know who fucking won it.
I
Man.
do.
Cody Gakpo?
No.
Mo Salah.
Luis Diaz?
No. I wouldn't have asked this question. Like
Diaz?
what? No.
I don't even know if Liverpool fucking
Is
won it, honestly.
No.
Did Liverpool even fucking win it?
I'm not giving you more information.
Because the final is in like May.
I thought
it's
Junior.
early in the year, isn't it? It's like fucking March or April or something.
It's February, that's why.
I actually can't remember. Who was Chelsea manager last season?
Virgil van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk. 3-2
God.
Jimmy.
Go on.
I like how he's just sitting back smug with his hands behind his head and he's now hit a bit of form. Oh my God. Dean, you're going to lose a quiz to Jimmy. Which player got the
6-0 2 weeks ago. The last time it was just the two of us. I absolutely hammered him. How dare you?
Okay, that's fair. Dean, you need to like brush up on your ball knowledge here. Like, which player got the lowest points tally, aka minus points, in Statter this week?
Solanke?
No, he was second last Solanke with a minus 4.5.
Lord, it's Solanke.
Defenders? No.
No. Actually, Jimmy, he plays for your team.
Yes, go on, Dean. Take your guess. Put me back in there. Take your beating. I know exactly who it is.
I don't know. Estupinan?
He plays for Gary.
No.
Oh, I thought you meant Brighton. I thought you meant what you said his team.
No, it was Leno.
Leno?
Yeah, it was Leno. It was Leno. -6 for Leno. Which player missed their penalty in the FA Cup shootout between Arsenal and Manchester United?
Havertz.
Yep. So that's 3-3.
3-3.
Oh my days! No, it's 4-3. 4-3. Which player has given away the most fouls in the Premier League this season?
Why is it 4-3?
That was question 7.
Most fouls. Martinez for United.
No.
Great guys. Otherwise, it's always him. I don't know.
It's always him.
I'm gonna go with another guess. So Damo.
No, I'll give you the answer. You're never going to get it. João Gomez, Wolves with 45. Caicedo was second with 44. And Joe Linton and Delap have given away 41 apiece. So do you remember the way I believe, didn't we? No, this was just before us, I believe. I don't even know anymore. Anyway, which player assisted the famous Aguero goal back against QPR back in the day? Who gave the assist? Their only assist in their whole time playing in the Premier League, might I add.
What's his name? Oh man, I can't fucking remember his name. Spanish player, I think. Is he?
I'm not giving any more information other than he assisted the Aguero goal, and it was their only one in their whole time in the Premier League.
I can't remember his.
I'll just do it one
Just
more
trying
time.
to remember man's.
Honestly, I'm focusing in on one player.
Gael.
No.
Nicholas Otamendi.
They were.
No. I go kick myself in his head.
They were an attacking player. You're going to kick yourself when you hear
I
it.
can see his face in front of me. Come on, I don't know. Dude.
Mario Balotelli.
Okay, I wasn't thinking of that.
One assist in the Premier League, and it was
His name actually came into my head, but I was like, no, he definitely had more fucking assists in the Premier League. That's
he's a greedy bastard. Ultimate greedy bastard. Pass the ball. No. Shoot. Final question, and it's currently 4-3 to Jimmy. And it's a true or false question.
Well, I mean, all right, go on.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're legging for someone.
I don't know how this is going.
You
Shut
didn't
up,
think
we'll
this
figure it
through.
out on the fly. I didn't think this through. Emil Heskey has more Premier League appearances than Steven Gerrard.
False.
True or false? This worked out perfectly well. Jimmy, you are our winner. Yes. Emil Heskey has 516 Premier League appearances to Steven Gerrard's 504.
God damn. Fair play. You win again, Jim.
5-3, Jimmy.
Somehow.
He wins
Excellent,
that
excellent.
DOS quiz.
Magnanimous in victory and ashamed in defeat. But the quiz, gotta love the quiz. I learned things about myself I didn't know, like that I know things about football. But yes, and with the week ahead, lads, shall we peek at the week ahead before we disappear?
Do.
Because there's some tasty fucking matches this week. Because Brentford are so much fun to watch, and Liverpool are so much fun to watch. West Ham,
Yes.
Palace could be chunky as well. And then there is the small matter that I'm sure will provoke no discussion in here next week of Man United versus Brighton. Hertzler just after having dug himself out of a hole and finally winning a game for the first time in 6 weeks, and United managing to overcome a team of the quality of Southampton thanks to 12 minutes of play in 9 weeks. It should be fun. Keep an eye on Villa and Arsenal as well. I don't know why. We're all waiting for the wheels to come off Arsenal, and I think it's going to happen sooner than
I think
later.
it's got draw written all over it, to be honest. I think Arsenal conceded a couple of goals.
And Fulham are going to push a few past.
They are, yeah. I'd say your boys will do you proud this weekend, Johnny, to be honest with you, because Leicester just...
Iwobi. I love Alex Iwobi. That is, Alex Iwobi might be my Fabian share. I might do anything to get him out of Damo's team and onto mine. Do you think he'd be up for a Manu for Iwobi swap deal?
Terrible deal. That is a terrible offer.
Look, on that note, Dean, would you like to? I'm not having this conversation with anybody but Damien.
Every deal is a terrible deal for someone. It's just a matter of how soon they realize it.
Kobe Mainoo's under bench and fucking Davis.
He's on my bench. He was on my bench this week. Stop it. Anyway, carry on. Jimmy, sign us off. I'm not having this conversation with anybody.
Brighton 4, Man United 2. Thank you and good night, people. And don't forget to keep an eye on us on Statrcast.com and everywhere else we are, which is everywhere. Much love all.